Daniel's resolve in Babylon. Jerusalem has fallen. Young nobles are taken captive to Babylon, including Daniel. King Nebuchadnezzar orders these young men to be trained in Babylonian culture, food, and gods. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the king's food. He chose obedience over comfort. Refusing royal food was dangerous, but Daniel asked for a test, 10 days on vegetables and water. After 10 days, Daniel and his friends looked healthier than anyone else. God honored their faith. God gave them wisdom and understanding beyond their peers. Daniel would soon stand before kings. Chapter 1 sets the tone. Daniel refuses to defile himself with the king's food. He chooses faith over favor. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are thrown into the fiery furnace. But they are not alone. God meets them in the fire. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is one of the most compelling narratives in the Bible, found in the book of Daniel, chapter 3. These three young men were among the Israelites taken into captivity by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Despite their circumstances, they remained steadfast in their faith and devotion to God. Their story is a powerful testament to the strength of faith and the miraculous power of divine intervention. King Nebuchadnezzar, a ruler known for his grandiose displays of power and wealth, had constructed a massive golden statue, standing 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. He decreed that whenever the people heard the sound of musical instruments, they were to fall down and worship this golden image. Anyone who refused to comply would be thrown into a blazing furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, however, refused to bow down to the statue. Their unwavering faith in God prohibited them from worshiping any idol. When the king's officials reported their defiance, Nebuchadnezzar was furious. He summoned the three men and gave them one last chance to obey his command. But they stood firm, declaring that their God was able to save them from the fiery furnace, and even if he did not, they would not serve the king's gods or worship the golden image. Brawlshot Group, Group 2, distribute _equally. Media, King Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue, people bowing down, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego standing firm. Nebuchadnezzar's anger knew no bounds. He ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual, and commanded some of his strongest soldiers to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. The heat was so intense that the flames killed the soldiers who took up the three men. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, still bound, fell into the roaring flames. Brawlshot Group, Group 3, distribute _equally at its stock. Media, soldiers binding Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, furnace being heated, soldiers being consumed by flames. As King Nebuchadnezzar watched, he was astonished. He leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, "Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" They replied, "Certainly, your majesty." The king exclaimed, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." Brawlshot Group, Group 4, distribute _equally at stock. Media, King Nebuchadnezzar's astonished face, 4 figures in the fire, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego walking unharmed. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here!" So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. Brawlshot Group, Group 5, distribute _equally at its stock. Media, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, emerging from the furnace, officials inspecting them, their unharmed appearance, Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego who has sent his angel and rescued his servants." They trusted in him, and defied the king's command, and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces, and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way. Brawlshot Group, Group 6, distribute _equally at its stock. Media, Nebuchadnezzar praising God, decree being written, people worshiping God. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Their faith and courage not only saved their lives, but also led to a significant change in the king's attitude towards the God of Israel. This story has been a source of inspiration for countless generations, reminding believers of the power of faith and the presence of God in times of trial. Brawl Shot Group, Group 7, distribute _ equally at its stock. Media, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego being promoted, people celebrating, the golden statue in the background. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is not just a tale of miraculous deliverance but also a profound lesson in faith and obedience. It teaches us that true faith is unwavering, even in the face of death. It shows that God is always with us, even in the most challenging and dangerous situations. Their story encourages us to stand firm in our beliefs and trust in God's power to save and protect us. Brawl Shot Group, Group 8, distribute _ equally at its stock. Media, people reading the Bible, scenes of faith and worship, modern-day depictions of the story. In today's world, we may not face a literal fiery furnace, but we do encounter various trials and challenges that test our faith. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego serves as a reminder that God is with us in our struggles. It reassures us that when we stand firm in our faith, we are never alone. God walks with us through the fire, providing strength, comfort, and deliverance. Brawl Shot Group, Group 9, distribute _ equally at its stock. Media, modern-day challenges, people praying, scenes of overcoming adversity. As we reflect on this powerful story, let us draw strength from the example of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Let us remember that our faith can move mountains and that God's presence is a constant source of hope and protection. No matter what challenges we face, we can trust that God is with us, guiding us through the fire and leading us to victory. Brawl Shot Group, Group 10, distribute _ equally at its stock. Media, inspirational scenes, people finding strength in faith, triumphant moments. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is a timeless reminder of the power of faith and the miraculous ways in which God intervenes in our lives. It encourages us to remain steadfast in our beliefs, to trust in God's power, and to find courage in the face of adversity. As we navigate the challenges of life, let us hold on to the promise that we are never alone, for God is always with us, even in the midst of the fire. Oxstock. In the ancient kingdom of Persia, under the rule of King Darius, there lived a man named Daniel. Daniel was known far and wide for his unwavering faith and his exceptional wisdom. He had risen to a position of great influence and responsibility within the kingdom, much to the envy of his peers. His integrity and dedication to his faith made him a target for those who sought to bring him down. Daniel's enemies, a group of high-ranking officials and satraps, were determined to find a way to discredit him. They knew that Daniel was faultless in his duties, and that the only way to trap him would be through his religious practices. After much plotting and scheming, they devised a cunning plan. They approached King Darius with a proposal for a new decree, one that would forbid anyone from praying to any god or man other than the king himself for 30 days. Anyone who violated this decree would be thrown into the lion's den. The officials flattered King Darius, appealing to his vanity and convincing him that such a decree would solidify his authority and unify the kingdom. Unaware of their true intentions, King Darius agreed and signed the decree into law. The news of the decree spread quickly throughout the kingdom, reaching Daniel's ears. Despite the grave consequences, Daniel remained steadfast in his faith. He continued to pray to his God as he had always done 3 times a day with his windows open towards Jerusalem. The conspirators wasted no time in reporting Daniel's defiance to the king. They presented their evidence, and King Darius, bound by the irrevocable law of the Medes and Persians, had no choice but to order Daniel's arrest. The king was deeply troubled, for he respected and admired Daniel, but his hands were tied. Daniel was brought before the king, and despite Darius's efforts to find a loophole, the decree had to be enforced. As Daniel was led to the lion's den, King Darius expressed his hope that Daniel's God, whom he served so faithfully, would deliver him. The heavy stone was rolled over the entrance of the den, sealing Daniel inside with the ferocious lions. The night was long and sleepless for King Darius, who fasted and refused any entertainment, anxiously awaiting the dawn. At the first light of dawn, the king hurried to the lion's den. With a voice filled with both hope and fear, he called out to Daniel. To his immense relief, Daniel responded unharmed and full of faith. Daniel explained that God had sent an angel to shut the mouths of the lions, protecting him from harm because he was found blameless before God and the king. Overwhelmed with joy and gratitude, King Darius ordered Daniel to be lifted out of the den. The conspirators who had plotted against Daniel were then thrown into the den, where they met the fate they had intended for him. King Darius issued a new decree, declaring that the God of Daniel was the living God, enduring forever, and his kingdom would never be destroyed. This story of Daniel in the lion's den is a powerful testament to the strength of faith and the protection that comes from unwavering trust in God. It serves as a reminder that even in the face of great adversity and danger, faith can provide a shield against the most fearsome of threats. Daniel's courage and steadfastness continue to inspire countless generations, illustrating the profound impact of a life lived in devotion to one's beliefs. The tale of Daniel and the lion's den is not just a historical account but a timeless lesson in integrity, faith, and divine protection. It encourages us to stand firm in our convictions, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. The story also highlights the importance of righteous leadership, as seen in King Darius's ultimate recognition of Daniel's God and his subsequent decree. In reflecting on this narrative, we are reminded of the power of faith to overcome fear and the importance of remaining true to our principles. Daniel's story is a beacon of hope, showing that no matter the circumstances, faith can lead to miraculous outcomes. It is a call to trust in a higher power, and to believe that, even in the darkest of times, we are never truly alone. As we delve deeper into the story, we see the intricate dynamics of power, jealousy, and faith at play. The officials' jealousy of Daniel's success and their subsequent plotting reveal the destructive nature of envy and the lengths to which people will go to undermine those they perceive as threats. Their actions serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of allowing personal vendettas to cloud judgment and lead to unjust actions. King Darius's role in the story is also significant. His initial agreement to the decree, driven by flattery and a desire to consolidate power, shows the vulnerability of leaders to manipulation. However, his genuine concern for Daniel and his ultimate recognition of Daniel's God demonstrate the potential for redemption and the importance of humility in leadership. Daniel's unwavering faith, even in the face of death, is the cornerstone of the story. His refusal to compromise his beliefs despite the dire consequences exemplifies the true essence of faith. It is a powerful reminder that faith is not just a passive belief, but an active commitment to living according to one's principles, regardless of the cost. The miraculous deliverance of Daniel from the lion's den is a testament to the power of divine intervention. It reinforces the idea that faith can move mountains and that those who remain steadfast in their beliefs will be protected and vindicated. This divine protection is a recurring theme in many religious texts, underscoring the belief that a higher power watches over and safeguards the faithful. In conclusion, the story of Daniel in the lion's den is a rich tapestry of faith, integrity, and divine protection. It offers valuable lessons on the importance of staying true to one's beliefs, the dangers of envy and manipulation, and the power of faith to overcome even the most daunting challenges. As we reflect on this timeless narrative, we are inspired to cultivate our own faith, stand firm in our convictions, and trust in the protective power of a higher authority. Daniel's story continues to resonate through the ages, a shining example of the triumph of faith over fear and the enduring power of divine protection. The final chapters of Daniel are not only historical, they're prophetic. Beasts, kingdoms, and thrones, all pointing to God's ultimate victory. The book of Daniel, one of the most enigmatic and profound books of the Bible, has fascinated scholars, theologians, and laypeople alike for centuries. Its final chapters in particular are a rich tapestry of visions and prophecies that have been interpreted in myriad ways. These chapters are not merely a recounting of historical events, they are a window into the divine plan, a roadmap to the ultimate triumph of good over evil. Daniel's visions are filled with symbolic imagery that can be both awe-inspiring and terrifying. He sees beasts rising from the sea, each representing different empires and kingdoms that will rise and fall throughout history. These beasts are not just random creatures, they are meticulously described with features that symbolize the characteristics and actions of the empires they represent. For instance, the lion with eagle's wings is often interpreted as Babylon, a powerful and swift empire that dominated the ancient world. As Daniel's visions progress, he sees a ram and a goat, symbolizing the Medo-Persian and Greek empires respectively. The ram, with its two horns, represents the dual nature of the Medo-Persian Empire, while the goat, with its single prominent horn, symbolizes the swift and powerful rise of Alexander the Great and the subsequent division of his empire. These visions are not just historical accounts, they are prophetic insights into the ebb and flow of power and the divine orchestration behind it all. One of the most striking aspects of Daniel's visions is the portrayal of thrones and the Ancient of Days. In a scene that is both majestic and awe-inspiring, Daniel describes the Ancient of Days taking his seat on a fiery throne surrounded by thousands upon thousands of attendants. This imagery is a powerful reminder of the ultimate authority and sovereignty of God over all earthly powers. The thrones represent the judgment and the establishment of God's eternal kingdom, a kingdom that will outlast all human empires. The prophetic nature of Daniel's visions extends beyond the immediate historical context. Many scholars believe that these visions also point to future events, including the end times and the final battle between good and evil. The beasts and kingdoms described in Daniel's visions are seen as precursors to the ultimate showdown between the forces of darkness and the kingdom of God. This eschatological interpretation adds another layer of depth and significance to the book, making it a source of hope and inspiration for believers throughout the ages. In addition to the symbolic imagery, the book of Daniel also contains specific prophecies that have been remarkably accurate in their fulfillment. For example, Daniel's prophecy of the 70 weeks is a detailed timeline that predicts the coming of the Messiah and the events leading up to the end times. This prophecy has been the subject of extensive study and debate, with many scholars marveling at its precision and accuracy. The final chapters of Daniel also emphasize the importance of faith and perseverance. Despite the trials and tribulations that Daniel and his people face, the overarching message is one of hope and assurance. God's ultimate victory is certain, and those who remain faithful will be rewarded. This message of hope is particularly relevant in times of uncertainty and turmoil, offering a beacon of light and encouragement to those who are struggling. The book of Daniel, with its rich symbolism and prophetic insights, continues to be a source of fascination and inspiration. Its final chapters in particular offer a profound glimpse into the divine plan and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. As we delve into these apocalyptic visions, we are reminded of the sovereignty of God and the certainty of his ultimate victory. Whether viewed as historical accounts, prophetic insights, or eschatological visions, the final chapters of Daniel remain a powerful testament to the enduring power of faith and the divine orchestration of history. In conclusion, the final chapters of Daniel are a masterful blend of history, prophecy, and divine revelation. They offer a unique perspective on the rise and fall of empires, the ultimate authority of God, and the hope of his eternal kingdom. As we reflect on these apocalyptic visions, we are reminded of the timeless truths and the enduring power of faith. The book of Daniel, with its rich tapestry of visions and prophecies, continues to inspire and challenge us, offering a glimpse into the divine plan and the ultimate victory of good over evil. In every vision, in every trial, Daniel shows us what it means to live faithful in a faithless world. This is not just ancient history, it's a call to courage for today. Subscribe to journey deeper into the book of Daniel, new episodes every week.